So, on my excursion today, oh, I look so greasy against this matte lipstick. Anyway, I'm on the bus, and it's getting crowded. So a lady gets on. Well, first, let me back up. The hospitality of the men. It wasn't just men of color. It was I wouldn't say Oriental or Asian descended male who, as people are rushing to get on, and I'm just following in line and getting on wherever because I'm gonna get to where I'm going. No rush. And two gentlemen allowed me to go in front of them. They want to sit down as much as I do. But they didn't see me forcing my way to the front or anything like that. Everyone else felt they were just privy to, well, because I'm getting on before all these other people. Everybody wants a seat, but there was enough seats for everyone. So the rushing and the body language of assertion, it was really unnecessary. So that was cool. Then sitting on the bus. Again, one of the men who let me on, he ended up sitting 2 seats down from me. He was able to get a seat. His kindness didn't hinder him or limit him in any way. He even gave up his seat when someone else got on the bus, and she had kids. Some of the kids were standing. And now my powers have evolved to the point where the lady next to me says in her mind, these young girls should get up and let somebody else sit down. They ain't tired. They ain't, this and that. She's going off in her mind. And I'm listening, and I'm like, I snap back in my mind. I told her, change starts with you. I can give up my seat. Will you join me? You ask for change in a neighborhood, in a country, or wherever. Have you implemented it? You complain about this society, what's happening, hospitality, morality, people having general kindness. But would you be willing to do the things that you're expecting someone else to get up and do? I heard nothing else from the left side of me. Instead, there were 2 gentlemen sitting, and there was the young girl holding onto the pole standing in front of me. One of the young men asked her, would you like to sit down? She said no. And he was sitting inside towards the window. The one sitting on the end towards the aisle got up, and he didn't ask. He just got up. And the little girl sat down. And that, to me, was powerful in the fact that all it took was for me to hear someone else's thought, squash it, give a solution, all internally, all telepathically. I know I'm telepathic. I know I am. This happened to me years ago working in the service industry when I would ask a customer about, waffles. Would you like regular chocolate chip, peanut butter, blueberry, whatever? In my mind, I would, peanut butter. That's not the most popular one. But as soon as I would say it, they would, I think I'll try peanut butter. So it was just an art of telepathy and persuasion. Just that something so simple that, and I'm starting to decipher the difference between actually hearing their thoughts and implementing mine, and wanting to make sure that I remain like uphold the morality, the righteousness of the gift that I've got, not to use it for anything other than what it's meant for, you know, because it can, some people are susceptible to that type of communication, and they think that certain ideas and certain thought forms are theirs. And working with the Aquarian energy, I know that they're not. So it's like being very, very careful about the thought forms you're passing on to another, because they do pick them up. Even in your mind, I had an incident where in my mind I was going over an unspoken conflict with someone. Because of the body language, there was certain dialogue I was receiving from them, and I was returning, I was volleying. And he must not have liked what I said, because soon a can of Pringles came and hit me in the bridge of my nose. And ever since then, the interaction between this person and I has been high and by. That's it. There's no nothing. And it's like, actually, he's an Aquarius. So it's very, very powerful, and it's potent, and it just, not saying anything to a person mentally or telepathically or even in my heart space that would demean their character or belittle them or make them feel any types of ill emotion or ill intent or rage or anything like that, but more so for an understanding. My energy signature is going to be picked up, period, whether they consciously or unconsciously recognize it. So to be mindful of what I'm thinking about a person, associating them with a certain emotion or a particular thought form, whenever they go into that thought form about something else, I could pop up in regards to that particular emotion or thought form, because it's something that I evoked or invoked in conjunction or in reference to them. So this energy work is real serious. It's really serious. When I do my Reiki sessions, there are certain permissions I ask for on a spiritual level, whether certain people are aware of it or not, because we have connected on a soul level. I go straight to their oversoul. I use my spiritual self to ask their spiritual self for permission to send healing their way. And, whew, oh, mosquito. I got my ankle. And one by one, as I'm doing my Reiki sessions, I will send energy their way. Because it just may be, it's not a session with another person in particular. It's more so of a collective modality, or where I go up above the city I'm in and just do a mass healing on the entire perimeter or the entire state or the entire city. But there are streams of energy that I'm sending to different parts of the country, to certain people, certain parts of the world that I'm sending to certain people. I'm not even going to start naming names, but to assist in their personal journeys and their personal healing and things like that. And I know that these things can be picked up. There's a certain part of my home. Every time I walk into that particular part of my home, a certain person comes to mind. And now, oh, okay, so there's a very distinct resonance of that person's energy within my home. And I don't know this person personally, but their energy there was something very significant in accordance to that particular spot, that every time I stand in it or every time I come to it, they come to mind. Or the thing that I'm doing when I'm standing at that sink, they come to mind, and I can damn near pinpoint, I see their face, I hear their voice. It's when you start tapping into power like this is what being forearmed is all about. It's not so much that I can look at the cards and just see the future It's not about just having dreams and I know it's coming, but more so I can step into a place and feel the trajectory of events. I can feel having the emotional intelligence when you purge these emotions, when you do the inner work, when you really dig deep and get into it, and you start to unpack what is really happening, what really makes up these certain types of emotions. So when you are encountering them, it's like being in a key, you know, I don't even want to go into music. I'm gonna chop it up and screw it. So it's like, I don't know. It's just being in a very specific place. That emotion takes you to a very specific place, and there's a lot of things just like it. A lot of they're cut the same way. They're tailored the same way. It's like having different color shirts that are the same cut. And you may have all different colors of them, but they're the same fucking cut. They fit the same way. So they may seem like they're showing up as different emotions when they're really the same, or they're variants of something. It can just be fine-tuned or tweaked or whatever. You can feel the resonance of something very specific. That's what makes the tarot easy to read when you have gone through the work of actually embodying and feeling these emotions. You can pick up the energetic resonance that it's portraying. That, this card, in addition to this one, tweaks the resonance of the initial energy. It's like adding another instrument to. I was trying to stay away from music, but it's like you have a whole orchestra and you're adding one beat, one sound, and it compiles. It compiles. So even without the cards, I can read a situation, I can feel a situation, I can maneuver through it because I can see the way that it's structured. It's like reading sheet music, and you can see the twists, the turns, the keys, the notes, the breaks. You can see everything. You can see everything. So it's just, and I hope this is making sense. I really hope it's making sense, but I do this. I've been doing this so long. It's hard to explain now because in the moment I was having that thought, I could hear this, and the way that it felt like it was being said from my mind. It wasn't in my tone of voice or something that I would particularly open my mouth and say, "Aren't you gonna get up? Aren't you? Why wouldn't I get up?" You know what I mean? That's my thing. I chose not to get up initially. It's not that I judged myself for not getting up or judged her. She was judging all the young ladies and young people in our vicinity. But she was not all that old herself. She had her hips on me, how close she was sitting to me. So, damn, even if I would have gotten up, that little girl would have been very uncomfortable. Not an excuse why I didn't get up, but it's just like, damn, you want something done, but you're not doing it. You just want someone else to stand up and do it. And my rebuttal to her, in turn, was picked up by someone else with the same mindset. Not mindset, I'm going to say the same feeling of empathy. That I have no problem getting up and actually sharing my seat or giving this seat to this young girl. But my question to that woman was, why wouldn't you join me so another person can sit down? You would want it done for you. I personally don't mind standing. So no, I didn't give up my seat. But it's not to say that goodwill hasn't happened to me and that I don't pay it forward. It's just that particular time I decided not to. Just as every time she sits down, she probably decides not to get up for someone else. To each their own. But the power of thoughts, the power of telepathy, the power of direction. I was very clear in my mental speech to the thought that arose that wasn't even mine. And this is what you can use towards those lower entity voices and dialogue that you have going on in your mind. They bring up old shit about you. They bring up old shit about other people. What does it have to do with me now? Why is it relevant? If I'm minding the business that pays me, why is this thought relevant? If it's coming up to be healed, it starts now. But don't take me back to the past, a place, a time, an energy, an emotion that I am no longer in. You have to keep that shit in check, and you have to nip it in the bud. No one else is going to do that. Thought form is so powerful, and you hear people talking about it all the time with this law of attraction shit and this and that, and I'm studying Hermetic law and just universal law in general, and it's like, yeah, it is powerful. So I'm very deliberate and very conscious. Things get through the cracks, but I'm very conscious about what I'm saying outwardly, online, in conversation, to myself, in reference to others. And I believe that's why my relationships with people is the way that it is. As critical as I can be, being a Virgo, I understand the damage of criticism when it isn't constructive. I know that firsthand. Me being public enemy number one to myself. Having recognized that, and I noticed it in a journal when I was upset, and I blurted some things into a journal, going back later and reading them and watched how it made me cringe, that came from me. That was on my mind. Going back to old posts that I made on social media, that was me. That was my mind. That was my state of being. No, no ma'am, no ham, no turkey, no bacon. Fuck that. Change your narrator. Change the way you're speaking of yourself, to yourself, and of others, period. Don't care how the fuck you feel about them. I really don't. I really don't. But you can tell someone about themselves without tearing or demeaning their character. You can. You can. Even if it's in your thoughts. Even if it's in your thoughts, you can send them well wishes. Like, damn, I want mental healing for you so badly because I really feel like it will help you. Instead of being like, this motherfucker crazy. They need some goddamn counseling. They need to see a psychiatrist. There's other ways to verse those things without damaging another person. Think about it. Just think about it. Just think about it. So that's it. I'll see y'all, I don't know, whenever I feel like it. The fuck? Have a good day though.